Regarding Russian President Putin taking a surprise trip to the Russian-controlled eastern Ukraine just days after firing a barrage of hypersonic missiles into Ukraine.
Yeah, joining us for more on this is retired Air Force Special Operations Commander and national security expert Major Glenn Ignazio. Let's get right to this. Why do you think that Putin is going to take this trip to the front lines now?
I definitely think it's symbolic. After seeing some of the congressional leadership from the United States visit, and you also saw Biden visit, it's definitely a symbolic nature to at least match. Our president went there. He's got to go there. And at the same time, it also sort of reinforces the idea, at least of his perception and propaganda, that, it is Russian territory. It's safe. So the president of Russia actually arriving and being able to go through Mariupol unfettered was definitely one of the symbolic things of this.
Now, China's President Xi and Putin, they're meeting in Moscow this week. That's very symbolic. It's telling the world, hey, we're in this together. What do you expect from this meeting, sir?
Well, I'll definitely say that this cooperation between the two of them and also Iran and so forth, you have these three countries that are really coming together to help Russia out, especially with the sanctions that have crippled them from a variety of different materials and so forth. That's why I see Iran supporting them with drones and so forth. And the same thing with China, giving them both opportunities to provide them anything that they need, and at the same time being able to export anything from Russia through China to continue that revenue for the country. The interesting part is, as we had that drone strike, or at least the fighter hit the drone the other day, is, those same aggressive tactics that Russia used is identical to what China uses. They're very aggressive and very nasty that way. And it really seems like this is a team effort to sort of shore up against NATO. And now you're seeing the other side.
And you mentioned that Russian jet downing the U.S. drone earlier this week. Has Biden's weakness on the world stage, it's also been questioned. How do you view that right now? And seeing with everything happening right now, how is America perceiving itself to the world stage?
Honestly, when Biden took the administration, took the presidency, I always thought that this is going to present a very weak front. I really thought that China was going to move on Taiwan before Russia moved on Ukraine. But again, this air-to-air incident, first of all, very unprofessional. That seems a little strange. Those are not the things that you would say when you have an air-to-air collision. It's very aggressive and it's very dangerous. I wouldn't say it's unprofessional. But at the same time, this is an unmanned drone, and it depends on the action you would take against a manned aircraft. To me, I would defend that particular aircraft, and if there was an engagement with those fighter aircraft from the drone, sure, but it has to be measured because you are talking about an unmanned platform to a man. But our reaction to this has always been sort of a powder puff approach. So it's like, it's okay, and everything keeps on getting passed to the side. Mm-hmm. So some very strong efforts from the United States against Russia is definitely needed, not a downplaying and that we see.
Also on Friday, international court issued a war crimes warrant for Vladimir Putin. What does this mean? Will he ever actually face justice? Will he be held accountable?
It's great to see being in Ukraine and seeing these war crimes and actually being intimately involved. A lot more attention has to go on to this because, 16,000 kids have been literally taken and forced adoption into Russia and stolen. So when the ICC instituted this warrant for his arrest, it's outstanding. But the difficult part is this only going to happen is if he leaves Russia, that somebody can actually institute and do something about it. So I don't think that's really going to happen. Russia's not a signature of the ICC, so they don't have to particularly hand over Putin. That's one of the things that is tough, is that it's great to have that presented, but actually enforcing it and executing it is very difficult on the world stage against the president of Russia.
Yeah, and what the timing of this, too? Why has this not happened sooner? Last question here.
Great question. I mean, like I said, Bucha, which is north of Kyiv, was like a slaughterhouse. It's really bad, mass graves and everything. Seen them myself, and we've had the international community there investigating. So there's a lot of evidence there. This, I think, is pretty much tied to some third parties. So Yale University did an analysis, and they found 40 camps that these kids have been brought to. And that goes from Crimea all the way up to Siberia. And it's retraining camps, possible some military training. So there was a lot of evidence that was gathered. And I think this is one of the easiest ones to be able to prosecute and push through. I think there's a lot of evidence, over the last year in other areas. But this one is very easy to say, Russia, you are responsible for this. The kids are in your country. It's not a propaganda of Ukraine or Russia. It's very, very clear that they're caught red-handed. That's probably why this came forward first.
Thank you so much, Major Glenn Ignazio, for your insight as always. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Have a great morning.